Hey everyone, it's Taehyung. I just wanted to take a moment to speak directly to you to share something that's been on my mind for a long time. I've been through a lot of moments in my life, some bright, some really challenging, but today I want to talk about something different, something personal, something real. I know a lot of you follow my journey, my music, my life, and you see parts of me. But there's a side that doesn't always get shared. The side that thinks, reflects, and feels deeply about the people who mean the most to me. And today, I want to share a story about choice, about love, and about someone who has truly changed how I understand what it means to connect with another person. I hope you can sit with me for a while and listen, because this isn't just about the moments that look good on camera or the moments that get headlines. It's about honesty, presence, and the quiet things that really matter. Before anything else, I want to say this clearly. I am here because I choose to be, not because of habit, not because it looks right, not because someone expects me to stay. I am here because you are real. Because in all the noise that surrounds me, you are steady, present, honest. You are not an idea. You are not a fantasy. You are someone who has lived, someone who has carried things quietly without needing applause or recognition, someone who knows how to stand in the world without being loud. There are mornings when the world is still asleep, when the first rays of light spill through the window and everything is quiet, before expectations start knocking, before names, titles, and responsibilities try to claim me again. In those moments, clarity comes easily, and in that clarity, I find you. I don't need to chase you, I don't need to impress you. You are there, steady, unpretending, real. And that steadiness slows me down. It reminds me who I am beneath everything I have built. I've learned over the years that attention is not connection, that noise is not meaning, that being seen doesn't always equal being understood. I've spent too long performing strength, carrying weight silently, pretending everything is fine, while inside I was constantly balancing between the public gaze and my private life. And then I see you not perfect, not flawless, but enduring. You have faced what life demanded and still remained soft when you could have hardened. You live responsibly. You carry days that ask more of you than anyone acknowledges, and you carry them anyway. That is not weakness, that is character. That is strength I recognize instinctively. I stay because with you, I don't need to perform strength. I don't need to impress. I don't need to disappear when things get heavy. I can simply be. I can simply exist. You understand weight. You understand silence. You understand the long nights when responsibility doesn't let go. You know that real connection isn't about chaos or intensity. It isn't about passion that flares and disappears. You know that connection is quiet. It is consistent. It is showing up even when nothing dramatic is happening. And in that, I see who you truly are. You've lived in a way that many don't notice. You've held things together quietly without seeking rescue, without expecting correction. And in that moment, something in me settled. Not excitement, not infatuation, recognition. Recognition of someone who deserves partnership, not rescue, care, not correction, presence, not promises. I choose you because you are whole. you are grounded. You allow space beside you without needing to be needed. You know who you are, even if the world never slowed down to honor it. I stay because with you, life doesn't feel like something I have to outrun. It feels like something I can walk through side by side. No hierarchy, no pressure, just two people choosing steadiness over spectacle. I am not here to rewrite your past. I respect it. Every part of it shaped the woman I see now. A woman who can hold space, who understands cost, who doesn't confuse love with effort alone. I choose you because you are real when the lights are off, because your strength doesn't disappear when no one is watching, because your softness survived things that could have taken it away. I stay because I want mornings that don't require armor. I want evenings where silence feels safe. I want a life where you don't have to brace for impact. You don't need to earn anything with me. You've already lived enough, proven enough, carried enough. What you deserve now is to be chosen without conditions. And that is why I stay. That is why I choose you. Not for who you might become, not for what you provide, but for who you already are. Steady, honest, present, and I am not going anywhere. Staying with you is not dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand applause. It is a decision I make over and over quietly, without anyone noticing, without needing validation. And that repetition, that constancy, that alignment, this is where real things are built. Not in declarations, not in intensity, but in what remains when the room is quiet and there is nothing left to prove. Being with you has changed the way I understand presence. I used to think connection meant saying the right things at the right time, performing strength when it wasn't natural, and constantly chasing reactions. But you've shown me that the quiet moments carry more weight than any applause ever could. The mornings before the world wakes, the evenings when silence fills the room, those moments are where reality meets meaning and you exist fully in them without need for validation. That steadiness, that unspoken reliability draws me in more than any intensity ever could. I choose you not because you need me, but because your presence reminds me who I am beneath the roles I play and the expectations I carry. With you, I can breathe without thinking about proving anything. You don't manipulate situations to test loyalty. You don't dramatize vulnerability. Instead, you navigate life with a clarity and balance that is rare, and in that clarity, I find calm. You make room for me without asking me to shrink, and you never demand I perform my best to earn your attention. That freedom, that authenticity is why I am drawn to you again and again. Watching how you handle your own life without complaint, without exaggeration, without turning responsibility into performance teaches me more about resilience than any example I've witnessed before. You move through challenges with quiet discernment. You acknowledge fatigue and disappointment without letting it define you. You make choices from a place of awareness, not reaction, and you carry your strength in a way that doesn't overshadow anyone else. I admire that. I respect that. And it makes me want to walk beside you, fully present, without pretense. I choose you because you do not conflate attention with intimacy. You do not measure worth by validation. You trust yourself, and that self trust anchors everything around you, including me. I can exist without fear of being judged or misinterpreted. I can bring my entire self to the table, my doubts, my fears, my imperfections, and know they will be met with understanding, not expectation. That is a rare kind of love. That is a rare kind of partnership. Being near you has taught me the subtle power of alignment. It isn't about dramatic gestures or daily declarations. It isn't about constant reassurance or proving loyalty. It's about repetition, presence, and the small deliberate acts that build the foundation of a life together. The way you show up day after day, quietly, without needing recognition, it is the kind of consistency that feels safe, that feels grounding. It is something I have wanted without knowing it, something I can finally recognize because it exists in you. I am drawn to the way you balance strength and softness. You have endured more than anyone should have to, and yet you allow gentleness to remain. You have carried responsibility without weaponizing it or making it a burden to others. That is not just resilience, it is mastery over oneself. It is a kind of power that doesn't need to announce itself. And in that power, I find a home, a center, a calm I've been searching for. That is why I choose you. That is why I remain. I have learned that intimacy is not created in intensity, it is created in alignment. It is built through repetition, through attentiveness, through shared understanding that does not rely on performance. You have cultivated this naturally, intuitively. You show care in the ordinary moments, the way you notice things without needing them highlighted, the way you respond without dramatizing, the way you hold space without filling it with noise. That is more than love. That is the framework of a life I want to build. With you, the past no longer feels like a weight I must carry alone. I do not need to perform perfection to be accepted. I do not need to hide doubts or fears to be seen as strong. You create a space where authenticity is welcomed. You have survived, you have adapted, and you have created an equilibrium that is rare in this world. And it is in that equilibrium, that steadiness, that I find myself anchored. That is why I remain not out of habit, but out of recognition of something irreplaceable. I choose you because you understand the subtle difference between calm and apathy, presence and obligation, endurance and stagnation. You move through life with awareness, never losing yourself, yet always allowing connection to exist fully. You teach me that partnership is not about dependency or control. It is about alignment, mutual respect, and the freedom to be complete as individuals while growing together. That is profound, and it is rare, and it is why I am here. Being with you has shown me that real love is quiet, not flamboyant. It is sustained, not momentary. It is reflected in repeated choices, in reliability, in the way someone shows up even when no one is watching. You embody that every day. You listen beyond words, you see beyond appearances, and you act from a place of clarity, not obligation. That is how trust grows. That is how partnership deepens. That is why I choose you again and again. I am drawn to your integrity, your consistency, your ability to remain fully yourself while allowing others to exist fully as well. That balance, that respect for boundaries, that clarity of presence, these are not traits I have seen often, and certainly not in combination. With you, I have discovered a way of being that does not require constant validation or performance. I have discovered a partnership that does not demand sacrifice for the sake of appearances, and I am grateful for it every day. I choose you because you have built a life with wisdom, care, and attention to what truly matters. You allow growth without destabilizing, trust without testing, closeness without consuming. You are deliberate without forcing, calm without stagnating, strong without overshadowing. And in your presence, I find a freedom, a grounding, and a sense of home that I have never experienced before. That is why I remain. That is why I choose you, not for what you could be, but for who you already are. You have taught me that love is not about the fire that burns and fades, but about the steady warmth that endures. You have shown me that partnership is not about control or dominance, but about alignment and mutual respect. You have shown me that trust is not built in moments of excitement, but in the quiet repetition of showing up fully, authentically, and consistently. That is rare. That is extraordinary. And it is why I remain with you every day. Being with you has changed how I view strength. I used to equate strength with control, with pushing through every moment without faltering, with proving myself to the world at every turn. But with you, I've realized that real strength is quiet. It doesn't announce itself, it endures without seeking recognition. You carry your life with an elegance I've never witnessed before, and being near you teaches me what it means to navigate challenges with dignity and composure. I am drawn to your balance. The way you hold yourself firmly, yet remain open, resilient, yet gentle. You faced hardships that could have hardened your heart, yet softness persists in you, not as a compromise, but as a choice. Witnessing that has changed the way I move through my own life. I've learned that endurance and compassion are not mutually exclusive. They coexist and they create a foundation that is unshakable. With you, I don't feel the need to perform certainty. I can show doubt, hesitation, or vulnerability without fear of judgment. You meet those moments with understanding, not reaction. That kind of response is rare and it is what allows trust to flourish naturally. I've realized that intimacy is not created in dramatic gestures or fiery passion. It is created through consistency, through alignment, through showing up even when the world doesn't notice. That is how love becomes sustainable. That is how connection becomes profound. You have taught me the subtle power of presence. It is not enough to be physically near someone. True presence is intentional, mindful, and alive. The way you inhabit a room, the way you carry yourself, the way you listen not just with ears but with understanding creates a space where I feel seen without explanation, accepted without performance. That space has become a sanctuary for me, a place where I can exist fully and still grow. And in that sanctuary, I find peace, stability, and clarity. I choose you because you do not blur boundaries with attachment. You understand that love is not about consumption, but about mutual respect. You integrate into my life without taking over. You allow me to exist without expectation without coercion. That kind of respect is rare and it fosters a partnership that is neither fragile nor conditional. It is built on alignment, on shared values, and on the freedom to remain whole while growing together. That is extraordinary. That is why I remain. Your steadiness has taught me the value of repetition over spectacle. I have seen the allure of intensity, the excitement of the dramatic, but I now know that lasting connection is cultivated quietly, deliberately, and consistently. The way you show up in ordinary moments without need for acknowledgement demonstrates a reliability that is more powerful than passion alone. That reliability grounds me. It anchors me. It teaches me that love is not built in grand gestures, but in the accumulation of small, meaningful choices. Being with you has also redefined how I understand partnership. It is not about balance of power or negotiation of roles. It is about alignment of values and intentions. It is about two people moving together without friction, complementing each other's strengths and weaknesses without overshadowing. It is about recognizing the spaces where each of us needs to lead or follow, to rest or act, and allowing those roles to shift naturally without ego or resistance. That is rare. That is how we thrive together. I am captivated by the way you carry yourself through life. You approach responsibility without dramatization. You acknowledge difficulty without letting it dominate you. You regulate your energy and emotions in a way that creates safety, not tension. Your approach to life teaches me patience, teaches me restraint, teaches me that clarity comes from observation, not impulse. And I have learned to mirror that steadiness in myself, not out of obligation, but because it is what makes sense. I choose you because you do not seek to change me, nor do you demand transformation. You accept me as I am, fully with flaws, doubts, and past scars intact. That acceptance is liberating. It allows connection without codependence, love without neediness, and growth without pressure. You demonstrate that partnership is not about filling gaps, but about walking alongside, contributing without consuming, giving without demanding. That is rare. That is extraordinary. That is why I choose you. Being near you makes life feel intentional rather than forced. Decisions are measured, presence is deliberate, actions are considered. There is a rhythm that exists when we are together, a rhythm that does not require rehearsal, explanation, or performance. That rhythm creates alignment in my mind and heart. It reassures me that the connection we share is sustainable, authentic, and grounded in reality. It is this rhythm that makes every day spent with you meaningful. You do not confuse closeness with control, nor calm with apathy. You understand that trust grows over time through repetition, through reliability, through the demonstration of care without obligation. You offer connection without requirement, understanding without judgment, and consistency without ceremony. And in that, I find a life worth investing in. I find a partnership that is safe, durable, and profoundly real. I choose you because you exemplify what it means to love deliberately, Not passionately, not dramatically, not performatively, but with awareness, with intention, and with depth. You have cultivated a life that honors truth, steadiness, and responsibility, and that cultivation extends to our relationship. It is the way you show up quietly and consistently that tells me this connection is enduring, this love is authentic, and this choice is unwavering. With you, I've learned that love isn't about constant excitement or the fire that flares and fades. It's about endurance, about showing up when the world is ordinary, when no one is watching, when it would be easier to walk away. That is what makes connection real. That is what makes a partnership last. Your quiet consistency, the way you inhabit life without drama, teaches me more about devotion than any gesture ever could. I am captivated by the way you handle responsibility, you face challenges without exaggeration, without seeking praise. You carry burdens without letting them define your worth. You navigate life with clarity, understanding that not every obstacle requires a reaction, not every setback requires a performance. Watching you do this has reshaped how I approach my own life. You have taught me that true resilience is subtle, measured, and deeply human. I choose you because you have mastered presence. Not presence that demands attention, but presence that stabilizes, that comforts, that reassures without words. Being with you is not about avoiding hardship, it's about navigating it together with clarity and mutual respect. You allow space for growth, for reflection, for silence, and in that space, our connection deepens in ways that intensity alone could never achieve. I am drawn to the balance you create. You are strong without being rigid, soft without being fragile. You are engaged without clinging, aware without overthinking. That equilibrium creates an environment where love feels effortless, where trust is natural, where intimacy flourishes without force. I see it every day in the way you listen, in the way you move through life, in the way you carry yourself without pretense. That balance is rare, and it inspires me to be better not for you, but for the partnership we share. Being near you has shown me that alignment matters more than chemistry. Intensity can be fleeting, but alignment, the harmony of values, intentions, and presence, sustains life together. You demonstrate this with every action, every choice, every quiet gesture. It's in the way you prioritize what matters, in the way you manage your energy, in the way you respect both yourself and me. That alignment is the foundation upon which we build, and it reassures me that this love can endure. I choose you because you have clarity about yourself and the life you want. You do not compromise your principles for comfort, nor do you demand I do the same. We move together because we align naturally, not because we are trying to force convergence. That kind of compatibility is rare, and it is the reason I feel at peace. With you, I am not anxious, I am not performing, I am simply present. And that presence creates a bond deeper than words could ever capture. You have taught me that partnership is not about filling gaps or correcting flaws. It is about walking beside each other, contributing to growth without consumption, sharing without overshadowing. You allow space for individuality while fostering connection. That balance transforms ordinary life into something meaningful. That understanding that practice is what sustains us. That is why I continue to choose you every day without hesitation. I am inspired by your steadiness. You move through uncertainty without fear, through challenge without panic, through life without losing yourself. That steadiness does not diminish excitement or joy, it enhances them. It creates a framework where happiness and connection can thrive without being forced. Your example has reshaped how I approach love, partnership, and commitment. I see now that sustainability matters more than intensity, and that reliability builds the foundation for everything else. Being with you has also redefined my understanding of intimacy. It is not about proximity or constant interaction. It is about alignment, trust, and the ability to coexist fully without interference. You allow closeness to flourish without dependency, connection to deepen without pressure, and love to exist without conditions. That is a rare gift. That is why I choose you. That is why every day spent with you feels like the right choice, the only choice. I choose you because you are anchored, not in comfort, but in awareness, not in avoidance, but in presence. You know what matters, and you do not waste energy on what does not. You approach life deliberately, thoughtfully, and with consideration for yourself and those around you. Being with you teaches me to do the same, to value clarity over chaos, presence over pretense, and alignment over performance. That is why I remain. With you, I do not feel the need to rush. The future does not intimidate me because you face it calmly, intentionally. You understand that trust is grown, not demanded. Love is built, not performed. Partnership is sustained through consistency, not spectacle. And because of that, I can exist fully, engage deeply, and commit without fear. That understanding, that dynamic is why I choose you continually, naturally, and with complete awareness. You have redefined what commitment looks like for me. It is not about grand gestures or declarations. It is about showing up consistently, aligning intentions with actions, and nurturing connection in ordinary moments. It is about resilience without rigidity, care without control, and love that is steady yet alive. That is how I know this relationship is lasting. That is why I choose you not for what you might become, but for who you are right now, fully, authentically, and consistently. Being with you has shown me that real love is built over time, not claimed in a moment. It is measured not by intensity or passion, but by endurance, by the way we choose each other again and again in ordinary circumstances, in unremarkable days when no one else is watching. That repetition, that consistency is what sustains connection. And it is in that steady rhythm that I find reassurance, safety, and a sense of home. I choose you because of the way you approach life with responsibility and awareness. You face what comes without dramatization, without needing recognition, without turning hardship into a story to be admired. You handle your energy, your emotions, your obligations with care and balance. And in doing so, you create a space for us to exist fully, to grow together without overshadowing, without compromise of self. That is rare, and it draws me in endlessly. With you, I have learned that trust is not built in grand gestures or declarations, but through repeated thoughtful actions. It is present in your consistency, your reliability, your capacity to show up when it is inconvenient, when it is quiet, when it requires patience and understanding. That form of love, grounded in awareness rather than spectacle, has reshaped my own understanding of what it means to commit, to choose, to care. I am inspired by the way you carry your strength. It is measured, not performative. It does not demand attention or admiration. You endure, you persevere, you navigate life's challenges, and yet you remain approachable, open, and soft. That juxtaposition, resilience, and tenderness teaches me that the most profound power is subtle, patient, and unassuming. It is this balance that I have come to admire, to respect, and ultimately to choose. Being near you reminds me daily of the importance of alignment over momentum. Life moves quickly, expectations rise, noise is constant, but with you, there is clarity. Decisions feel informed rather than pressured. Interactions feel intentional rather than obligatory, and moments feel shared rather than performed. That alignment creates trust naturally, a rhythm in which love does not have to be proven, it only has to be lived. I choose you because you do not confuse closeness with ownership, nor affection with control. You allow us to exist as individuals while moving forward as a unit. You respect boundaries, embrace space, and create intimacy through presence rather than demand. That understanding, rare as it is, ensures our connection remains durable and authentic. You teach me that love thrives not through constraint but through freedom paired with responsibility. With you, I am allowed to exist without pretension. I can express vulnerability without fear, hesitation without judgment, and curiosity without expectation. You meet each of these with understanding, respect, and a quiet steadiness that is profoundly grounding. That ability to create a safe emotional space is why I choose you not for what you provide, but for the security, clarity, and trust you foster just by being who you are. I am drawn to the way you navigate imperfection. You do not chase false ideals or perform to meet external expectations. You accept yourself and the world with honesty and grace, and that creates a foundation where partnership can thrive. I see in you a model of resilience and authenticity that teaches me not only to be a better partner, but to be a better version of myself. That is why I remain consistently, intentionally, and without hesitation. I choose you because you understand that love is not measured in grand gestures, but in the subtle accumulation of care. It is present in the way you listen attentively, respond thoughtfully, and act without fanfare. It is in the repetition, the reliability, and the attentiveness. That is how trust deepens, how intimacy grows, and how a life together becomes sustainable. With you, I have discovered that the quiet moments carry more weight than any spectacle ever could. Being with you is an education in endurance, in patience, and in authentic partnership. You have shown me that strength is not loud, that wisdom is measured, and that commitment is sustained, not announced. I watch how you handle challenges, disappointment, and responsibility, and I am continually inspired. That inspiration is not fleeting, it is steady, consistent, and enduring, just like the connection we are building together. I am drawn to the way you integrate presence into every aspect of your life. You do not need to perform to be recognized. You do not need to manipulate outcomes to feel secure. Your awareness, clarity, and intentionality inform every interaction, every choice, and every relationship. Being in your orbit has taught me that love grows strongest when it is given freely, nurtured carefully, and respected consistently. I choose you because of the balance you maintain between independence and connection. You do not sacrifice self to accommodate others, yet you do not erect walls to isolate yourself. You navigate the delicate dance of intimacy with grace and wisdom. That creates a foundation that is both strong and flexible, where partnership is not a compromise but a shared expansion. That is rare, and it is why I remain with you. I have discovered the profound value of shared alignment. When we move together intentionally, guided by shared principles and values, life becomes coherent, manageable, and deeply satisfying. That coherence removes anxiety, fosters security, and allows both of us to flourish. That is why I choose you, because with you, life feels structured yet alive, secure yet open, ordinary yet extraordinary. I am committed to this path with you, not because love demands sacrifice or performance, but because partnership, when nurtured wisely, creates a life that is fulfilling in ways fleeting passion never could. I have seen the power of alignment, consistency, and steady presence, and I am drawn to it every day. Your example has reshaped my expectations of love, taught me patience, and shown me that stability, not chaos, is the key to enduring happiness. I choose you because you have mastered the art of presence, responsibility, and authentic connection. You do not manipulate, you do not perform, you simply exist with integrity, and that existence creates safety, trust, and depth. That is why every moment with you feels meaningful. That is why the choice to be with you is never a question. It is recognition, affirmation, and quiet celebration of who you are. Being with you has shown me that a life built on alignment, trust, and intentionality surpasses any life built on spectacle or impulse. You demonstrate every day that love is an action, not a feeling, that partnership is a practice, not a performance, and that enduring connection comes from presence, awareness, and consistency. That is why I remain. That is why I choose you. That is why every day I am grateful for your steady, unwavering presence in my life. Thank you, truly. Thank you for taking the time to listen, for being here, for sharing these moments with me. I know life can feel heavy, chaotic, and unpredictable, but having people who choose to be present, who choose to understand, who choose to support well, that makes everything meaningful. I want you to know that your support, your care, and your patience don't go unnoticed. Every comment, every message, every moment you've taken to be part of my journey, they matter to me more than words can express. You've helped me appreciate the quiet, steady things in life, the things that are real and lasting, and that gratitude, it stays with me every single day. As I continue to move forward, I hope to keep sharing these moments, these truths, these reflections, and I hope that in some way my words my music or just my presence can give you the same sense of grounding, the same reminder that it's okay to be real, to be patient, and to care deeply. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening, for understanding, for choosing to be here with me. I promise to continue cherishing these connections, these shared spaces, and these quiet, meaningful moments with all of you.